What if I told you that the story of Job is not mainly about suffering, but about a hidden heavenly confrontation that reveals one of the most disturbing truths about the spiritual world? What happened behind the scenes of this book challenges everything most people think they know about God, Satan, and faith itself, because the story of Job does not begin on earth. It begins in a secret assembly in heaven. Job was the most righteous man on earth. So righteous that God himself publicly testified about him. But have you ever stopped to ask what was really happening beyond human sight? In Job chapter 1, verse 6, Scripture opens a door into the unseen world. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them. This single verse changes everything. It reveals that there is a divine council, a heavenly courtroom, and that Satan at that time still had access to present himself before God. And then something even more unsettling happens. God initiates the conversation. He points to Job and says, "Have you considered my servant Job? There is none like him on the earth, blameless and upright, fearing God and turning away from evil." Why would God draw Satan's attention to Job? Because what unfolds next is not random suffering. It is the exposure of a cosmic accusation. Satan responds, "Does Job fear God for nothing? Have you not put a hedge around him, his household, and everything he has? But stretch out your hand and strike all that he has, and he will surely curse you to your face." This is the heart of Satan's claim. No one truly loves you, God. They only serve you because you protect and bless them. And then comes the moment most people never fully process. God does not create evil, but he allows the test within limits he himself establishes. Satan cannot touch Job unless God permits it, and even then he is strictly restrained. This reveals something both terrifying and comforting. Even chaos has boundaries when God is sovereign. In a single day, Job loses his wealth, his servants, and all 10 of his children. Later, even his health is taken. His body becomes covered with painful sores from head to toe. And the question that echoes through history is not simply, why did this happen? It is this: why would God allow a righteous man to be shattered without explanation? Most sermons rush to the ending. Job is restored. He receives double. But there are dark truths the happy ending does not erase. First, Job's first 10 children never returned. He had more children, yes, but the ones he lost remained dead. This was not a symbolic test. It was real loss. Second, Job's suffering was not caused by hidden sin. God himself declares Job blameless. This destroys the idea that suffering is always punishment. Third, and most disturbing, Job never knew about the heavenly conversation. He suffered without context, without answers, without explanation. All he experienced was silence and pain. Throughout the book, his friends accuse him. They insist there must be secret guilt. But the reader knows something Job never did. The real battle was invisible. When God finally speaks in chapters 38 through 41, he does something shocking. He never mentions Satan. He never explains the test. He never justifies himself. Instead, God asks Job a storm of questions. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Can you bind the chains of the Pleiades? Can you command the morning? Can you give the horse his strength? God is not being cruel. He is revealing a reality. There are dimensions of existence Job cannot access, councils he cannot enter, purposes that exceed human perspective. God is saying, you do not have the framework to judge my governance of the universe. Biblical scholars believe Job may be the oldest book in Scripture, written before Moses, which means this story was preserved as a foundational warning to humanity, a warning that reality is far larger than what we see, that spiritual warfare is real, that suffering does not always come with explanations, that faith is not proven when answers are given, but when they are withheld. Job never discovered the heavenly confrontation. He died without knowing why it happened. but he chose to trust God anyway. And perhaps that is the most disturbing truth of all. The ultimate question is not, why does God allow suffering? The real question is, could you remain faithful if God never told you why?